Good everyone, in this video today we have a sale overview video from the 2023 November sale. As you all remember, we tend to do this every, well, I tend to do this every year. Harry started doing it now, which I do like seeing. And we basically go over the vehicles we get in the sale, plus anything else that we might be doing or are working towards and things like that. So before I get into the sale vehicles, because obviously I will need to bring up the XA38 for a different purpose, I'm going to quickly point out what I'm going for in the Warbond shop. So I'm going to be going for the Sherman 3-4, which is essentially just an M4A3 hull with no machine gun ports, no 50 cal, an M4A1 turret slapped on top of a Sherman. From what I've heard, this thing is fake. It shouldn't be this way, but still. And I'm also going to be going for the USS Frank Knox because, well, I get loads of war bonds in this thing because obviously I bought the battle pass. And I always like having a destroyer which can help out in terms of grinding, and plus destroyers are always nice for battle pass challenges because they tend to be quite easy. But of course, against the bigger boats, we have to play a bit more tactically, but I kind of like that. So that's the two I'm going for. I'm not going for the TOG 2 before anyone asks because I have no interest in that. If I want to go and have a TOG in my own life, I would just go nick the one from Wellington Tank Museum because whilst it is a few hours away from where I live, I'm sure I can borrow a truck that can tow it. Or at least flatbed it or whatever. Anyway, so let's start out with the sale vehicles. And we're starting off with the XA38 Grizzly. So this is one of Bertie's gifts to me, because thank you, Bertie, for a start. And this is purely because Bertie wanted to give me a challenge. So Bertie's actually been struggling to try and find anything for me to, because he wants to give me something that I can review, so nothing naval, because he knows I won't review a naval vehicle. But he also wants to give me something that isn't going to be dominant, but is still going to have its use. So he gave me a challenge of the HS-129B3 and getting 5 kills in Tank RB in it. Did it in my very first match. He was not happy, but he said, right, once you PayPal, I'll send it you across. And this is exactly what he wanted me to get. And it's surprisingly cheap, this thing. I've had a few games in it. I kind of like the vehicle so far. Just having 250s to really fire at planes. You can fire to 75 if you want, but it's a bit slow. But just having 250s in the nose can be a bit of a pain, but it does have good turrets, so it can definitely, gunship to some extent, because it does have pretty good coverage. It's also very fast. It can outrun quite few aircraft at this BR for its speed. And of course, it does have access to some bombs which drop singles. I've took this thing into Ground RB. It's very, very good in Ground RB. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reviewing this one. Bertie has asked however, for a priority review. So in other words, Joe's got to go and take this thing out more for a bit more footage. So wish me luck. But I don't think it's going to be too bad because this thing is actually pretty solid. Next, we're moving on to Germany, and this is where we need to bring up the Lonious' contribution. So, first of all, thank you, Lonious. Although I still hate you. Jokes aside, I don't hate you. I just want to strangle you secretly. This is one of the vehicles that he wanted me to really have on top of my priority list, because he wants to feature this thing in a combo request, which I'm not taking combos or sub requests at the moment, because I'm going to say that now before anyone jumps to that conclusion. That will be done at some point. I'm not going to do this Panzerwerfer combo yet. I need to have a bit more practice for the vehicle and also develop my sanity for this thing. So what makes this thing tick, so to speak? Why would he buy me this thing? And again, he'd PayPal me this, but still. What made him want to give me this? Like I say, he wanted to give me a really, really painful combo request. So he said, right, you've got the German Wellington. I will buy you this in November. And I'll be brutally honest, when he said it, I was like, okay, I'll see if you remember. He remembered, I didn't. So that gives you an idea. So yeah, this thing does actually get a working gun sight now, to some extent. So it will take me a bit of time to get used to the vehicle, but I think I can maybe kill some stuff with this thing. You can kill Shermans with this thing quite reliably from what I've seen. Just good luck killing a Russian tank is all I'll say. So we're not going to be killing any Russians unless we do the old shoot underneath the tank trick, which I don't think that's going to work, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. But of course, we do have access to a 792, and he has stated he wants at least 2 kills in this thing, plus the Wellington, and I will be damned if I don't get at least an air kill with that MG42. So that's something you can look forward to me trying. Next up, we have the Panzerkampfwagen Churchill III. That's what it is, it's a Churchill III. Harry's not long featured this thing on for a review on his channel. I think he got this at the same time I did. And this is essentially a Churchill Mark III, but it's been owned by the Germans, which some might say it's more efficient. I would just say you're stealing good tech. I'm going to say that straight away, because if I don't, the bloody Germans, aka Faultier and Berti, are going to be trying to throw some shit. But jokes aside, this thing is actually a pretty strong tank. Like, it's at 4.0. It faces a lot of the Allied guns, which a lot of them can't actually, do actually struggle with the Churchill's armor. Whereas the German guns just cut through this thing like a hot knife through butter. But we, of course, keep the British gun, the 6-pounder. We also keep the smoke grenade launcher, which is always nice. You get 30 of them. And this thing's armor is actually pretty solid against most of the Allied vehicles. But of course, the turret face is flat as a witch's tit, so we will have to bear that in mind. But I don't think that's going to be mattering too much. Next, we have the FW-190 A5U14. This is a torpedo-armed Focke-Wulf 190. Code word for I will not be using a torpedo. But this is, well, I'm not looking forward to this thing because the A5s are overheating like a bitch right now. But I suppose it could be worse. This thing doesn't get access to bombs. It doesn't have the Cal machine guns. It just has the two 20mm cannons. I don't know how this is going to go, but it's the last real German prop I kind of want to own. Because I don't want the 335B2, because it's a bit of a boss, and yeah, it does have a lot of guns, but so does something like the A4, and the A4 overheats like a bitch. I don't want to own a 288, because even if I did, I would never fly it, and if I was to review it, I'd just spend most of the time showing how handheld it is. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to this one, but, well, it's the last premium rank 3 I have to do for Germany, so might as well get it over and done with now. Next up, we have the Russian A20G30. This is, of course, one of the infamous A20s, and this is actually an A20 that got removed from the game like 10 years ago. Originally, this used to be the American A20, which was in the game. Then they removed it, put in the G25, and then they brought this thing back as a premium with a bomber spawn. So, of course, we get 650 cal guns. We do get custom loadouts, which, as you can see, I've had a tinker with. And no, you're not seeing things. That's a 100 kilogram on that wing, a 50 kilogram on that wing, 2 500s, and 4 500-pound bombs in the bomb bay. So, yeah, I've been having a bit of a good time with this thing, to say the least. And as you can tell, I've got a few custom loadouts set up. I've got this one mainly for attacking light targets. We've then got this one, which can do a bit of both worlds, and then we've got this one, which is focused more on base bombing. So looking forward to giving this thing a real run out, because I've not had a chance to take out the A20 yet, but hopefully should be quite decent. And finally, we come to the French with the PBY-5A late. This is essentially a PBY-5A, which in other words means we get landing gear, which we'll never use. We do get custom loadouts on this thing, although they're not very technical. As you can see, I've got 14 100-pounders under the wings and 2 naval mines. Trust me, just take the 4 naval mines, you will win a match within a few minutes, as long as you have at least one of the Catalina, that is. And yeah, we do have one other difference between the 5A late and the regular 5A, and that is this front turret. Instead of being a single 30 cal, it is a twin 30 cal. So yeah, really looking forward to getting this thing out and about, because it's another seaplane, and I know people love their Catalina reviews from me, because I tend to repeat myself. But also, I can at least say this thing has one small difference, which, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be getting any kills with that front gun, but I'm certainly going to try. Anyway, really hope you enjoyed seeing the vehicles for this year. Obviously, we will be adding the Sherman and the Frank Knox to the collection. The Knox will mostly rot until naval challenges roll around, but the Sherman will, of course, get its normal review, as you might expect. But I really hope you enjoyed this one. Obviously, we didn't get many this year, but of course, 2 of the vehicles we were gifted by subscribers, obviously Berti and Lonious. So thank you very much, guys. Really do appreciate it. So expect to have reviews on them soon enough. Obviously, Bertie has asked for a priority review, and of course, Linus wants a comment request out of me. But I've got a lot of other things on my plate, so I'm just going to have to work on it over time. Anyway, really hope you enjoyed today's overview of the sale, and I'll see you all on the next one.